What's up everyone, it's your boy Connor. Welcome to Slinging Sips. Today I'm going to be reviewing a coffee from Touchy Coffee. This is a single origin Rwanda. It says Akagera Ikizir. It's a natural red bourbon coffee from Touchy Coffee. And if there's anything that I know about these guys, it's that there's some wild tasting notes that come through with everything I've had from these guys so far. I literally just scrolled on their website and checked out their store. Their website's really easy to use. They got a great selection. I'm really considering buying those cups that they use, those clay ones. It's made by a local pottery place. And yeah, as you can see, my kitchen's set up a little bit different. This table is actually much closer to me, so it allows me to be a bit closer to the camera. I think it actually improves the lighting a little bit. So there's a light right up there that's shining down, and the camera really needs to capture that light more. There's some sort of glare that's going on with these videos, and that has certainly been a problem. I'm also going to be creating a branch series, bringing back Slinging Sips POV in a different style. You guys will see that coming up soon, and I will be using this coffee on other brewing methods. Just the sounds, just enjoy the way the coffee's being brewed. It's going to show much more close-up shots of the coffee brewer itself. This part of the series allows me to present to you, talk about the coffee, so I wanted to kind of bring both, and I found this is the best way to do it. Another thing I want to announce, I just got the New York City Cafe Passport. This is something that you can buy online. These guys, they do other cities as well. And since I'm going to New York City somewhat soon, I'm not sure if it's going to be later this summer or if it's going to be early fall, I'm going to use this as my guide to kind of compare and contrast the coffee shops that I chose to review versus the coffee shops that these guys chose to put down in here. I'm not going to hit all the coffee shops in this passport because they're not all good. But that's okay. There's specialty coffee. There's coffee shops that focus on flavored drinks, that focus on more of a lunch menu type feel. They each have their own niches. Specifically, I'm looking for specialty coffee. So I'm looking for lattes that have good milk retention, good jiggle quality, good tasting milk, good milk feel, good expression from the espresso through the milk. The espresso has to be dialed in, all the equipment has to be clean, the integration has to be good, yada, yada, yada. And there's a lot of things that go into making a delicious latte. That's something I'm still training on myself. You still always learn in the coffee world. And I'm still learning. I'm getting better and better at making these pour-overs, at improving my technique. And that's something I'm going to present to you here. Closer style, point of view videos, and more coming soon. That Coffee Roasters is back. Next video, let's start our water. I'm just gonna let that heat up. While I do that, I wanna grab my scale. Now, this being a naturally processed coffee means that when the coffee cherry is on the bean itself, or the green product, the green seed, basically it's left to sun dry. And that gives you some different tasting notes rather than when they wash the coffee cherry off. And it retains some of the flavor of the coffee cherry a bit more. Your washed coffees are going to give you a cleaner taste of that coffee. So it can be done in different variations. It's up to the choice of the farmer and how they want to do it. And it's something I really need to learn more about. I'm really fascinated with. So it almost feels like on this American coffee trip journey, I'm working my way backwards from going to the coffee shop and seeing the final product, and then working my way back to the roasting, back to the distribution and the farming. And the more I learn, the more I can understand coffee and grow this journey, this dream that I have for American Coffee Trip. And Touchy Coffee, they even have their own little slogan here. It's on the back of the bag. Roasted in Troy, New York. Paying homage to the vast number of hands that plant, tend, process, import, roast, and brew this coffee before it finds its way to your cup. That's their philosophy. Let's give it an open. I need to replace this table. I know it's gonna happen. I'm spending more money on actually going on these journeys coming up for American Coffee Trip. I will announce the next date for the next trip, which is going to be a single day. I won't say where, just keep an eye on the map, guys. It's changing very quickly. The last coffee I used from Touchy Coffee, I went with a 20-gram dose, and I found that that gave me the best result. So I'm just going to replicate what I did over on this single origin Honduras, the Primrose. So I'm going to take my coffee. This little screen here is cracked. This little plastic tray for the Croc Gator scale. I want to replace this scale. Its error is up to kind of a 0.5 gram difference, which is definitely significant. If I'm trying to measure out the purge rate through the grinder, which I typically get a 0.2 to 0.3 gram loss, having an accurate scale, a better digital scale that's going to actually record that stuff is going to be absolutely phenomenal for helping me dial in this coffee. What I will use this for is more camping when Backcountry Barista continues in the future. Grind setting set to 3.8. I gotta grind quick. My water's already ready to go. I shake the coffee. I want it to grind flat through. I'm not sure if that makes the biggest difference, but it makes me feel better. Okay, so now I'm going to heat my brewer. 2 hands, if possible. That first pour, it's really difficult when you're doing that bloom because you want to start the timer at the same time that that water makes contact with the coffee. So I'm heating up my brewer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this down here. Take my paper filter, fold at the crease. Shake out the water, swirl your brewer, and then let out the water from here. Make sure scale records the brewer on top. You zero out. Check for your purge. Reweigh the dose, whatever goes through the grinder. The weight of the whole bean versus the weight of the grinded coffee is always going to be different. It's different for every grinder as well. Let's put that back off to the side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my brewer. I'm tapping the coffee flat. Reconnect that. Okay, I teased this DAC Coffee Roasters coffee. So this is a single origin Bolivia. I'm going to be doing a video following up with this right after. By the way, my t-shirt. Check out Ugly Duck Coffee in Rochester, New York. Absolutely fantastic coffee shop. Video is going to come out by the time this one does, so check it out. Timelines are a bit wonky on American Coffee Trip, but that's okay. I'm recording 19.6 grams. That's a 0.4 loss, if that's accurate. Starting the timer, start from center pour. Work your way, small circles, out. And now I'm watching that weight. 6 grams over. It's okay if it's a little bit off. What you do is you do the math in your head and you make up for that on the next pour. It adds a level of complication, but it keeps the extraction rate consistent. I also try to keep with a similar rate pour. So I'm just going out, just wetting the coffee, and I go right to the middle and make little circles till I get to 150. There we go. Just a little bit above 150. That's perfect. That's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm waiting till 1 minute, and then I'm going to move up to 235 grams. My final output for my V60 Test 6 technique is 320 grams. And I'm putting 19.6 grams in. Of course, I'm trying to talk and pour at the same time, so I missed my mark for this. That means I'm going to pour a little faster. 235 on the dot. The speed at which you pour also affects the output and how much time it's going to take. I focus on outside circles until the coffee is all wet. Go right back in for the little circles, all the way out to 320. Now this part, you wait for the coffee to drain out, and once that happens, we're gonna get our final time. I have my journal over here, pen, and I'm going to be recording for V60 pour over. And I'm going to be very gentle because I forgot that this table is ass. All right, 225. That bed is almost there. Might land to 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Even earlier than that. Two minutes and 40 seconds. I'm gonna grab my catch. I'm gonna cap this. All right. So for the Kino M47 that I'm using, grind size of 3.8, which means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of grinders, but for that specific one, that's what I use for Touchy coffee, if you guys happen to have that. I went for a 19.6 gram dose, an output of 320 grams, and it ended up landing around 322, 323 grams. And we got a time of 2 minutes and 40 seconds. A little bit on the faster side, but it should be a delicious coffee. And I got my journal here, so I'm going to record my results if I think they're dialed in. I wouldn't want to make any changes. You know, definitely compared to the last Touchy coffee, It doesn't have like that really strong nectar-y feel to it. That pink lemonade, almost zest to it. Very citrusy was something that I got a lot in the last one. I do get citrusy tasting notes in this particular coffee, more leaning towards the lime, but it's not as, it doesn't hit you as hard as that last Touchy coffee. It's actually a little bit more subtle, which is not something I usually get from this place. It really hits the sour and sweet part of coffee, which is really nice. I don't see many coffees really go for that combo, but this one gives a really nice, interesting mouthfeel that I really like. The natural washed process that this coffee went through as well also allows the coffee cherry itself to express itself more. It's a slower drying process, using the sun instead of washing the cherry right off, which has its own benefits, but natural coffees I don't really see as often. I really love this. I'll be brewing this again in my POV series. Like I said, Slinging Sips has changed. I'm changing the format a little bit. As you can see, I've changed up kind of the space that I can utilize to record. I'm not going to be moving forward and backwards as much. I'm just going to be kind of going side to side. This allows me to just turn around, grab stuff, and I can present it right here. Less movement for you guys. You can focus on the coffee drinking part more. I really enjoy this coffee. I'm excited to brew it on other brewing methods. If you can look behind me, I've got other stuff that I'm excited to try out. But I think I better keep drinking this. I'm going to enjoy it. And then I'll be trying out that DAC Coffee Roasters coffee. So with that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.